Now, the Taliban has said they carried out the rocket attack on Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, killing 4 US soldiers. The attack came on the very day that Washington announced it was starting talks with the Taliban.
US officials say they were hit by indirect fire, likely a mortar or rocket. News of the casualties came as NATO-led troops formally handed over control of the country's security to the Afghan army and police.
Well, the US government is warning that the negotiations will be slow and difficult with no guarantee of success.
He called it the Good War, and as President Barack Obama took office, tripling the U.S. troops in Afghanistan, he described success as defeating al-Qaeda, degrading the Taliban. Now, as the last areas begin transitioning to Afghan control, he's telling the American public it's time to start negotiating for peace.
An Afghan-led and Afghan-owned peace process is the best way to end the violence and to ensure lasting stability in Afghanistan and the region.
But the U.S. will be talking to the Taliban first. This week, the possibility of prisoner swaps is expected to be a top priority. U.S. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, in exchange for Taliban prisoners being held at Guantanamo Bay Prison.
Has not made the decision at this point to transfer any Taliban detainees from Guantanamo Bay, though, of course, we expect the Taliban to raise this issue. As we've long said, we will make any such decisions in consultation with Congress.
Political analysts say that will likely give the American president political cover, with a public that largely still sees the Taliban as the enemy.
The Taliban opened a political office in Qatar today, even held a news conference.
Both military and political options.
Still intent on liberating Afghanistan, as they put it, but promising not to, quote, harm other countries.
It's good news. We're very pleased with what has taken place.
But State Department officials say this is just the first step. The Taliban have yet to renounce al-Qaeda or embrace Afghanistan's constitution, including the rights of women.
Negotiators for the Taliban are expected to repeat their demand that the Americans release a group of prisoners. In return, the Americans are expected to ask the Taliban to break ties with al-Qaeda and end their campaign of violence.
The Afghan President Hamid Karzai will also send a delegation to the talks. Prisoner exchanges are thought to be on the agenda for the first meeting, but it's likely to take weeks to explore all agendas. Washington and NATO officials have played down any hopes of a swift breakthrough because they say the level of trust is low between the Afghan government and the Taliban.